President Duterte wants the death penalty back for drug-related and heinous crimes and plunder. And the debate is on again. Welcome to On the Record. I'm Ruth Cabal.
I respectfully request Congress to reinstate the death penalty for heinous crimes related to drugs as well as plunder.
Our guests for this episode, Representative Lito Atienza of Buhay Party List and lawyer Lorna Capunan. Joining us later, Dante Jimenez, founding chair of the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption, now head of the Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission. Good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening. Magandang gabi sa'yo, Ruth.
Okay, first of all,
good evening.
I'd like to ask our guests right now, ano pong posisyon nyo doon sa sona ng Pangulo na he wants to reimpose the death penalty, Congressman?
Definitely, we're against it. Here we go again. We're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of money, and national debates will go on. And meanwhile, ang daming problema ng bayan, dumadami may hirap, na dapat sana yun ang ating pag-uusapan.
Why are you against it, Congressman?
Fundamentally, it's wrong, and it will not solve the problem. So it's not the solution, and it's not going to help any. It will only create a deeper, darker culture of death in the country, which will mean more violence and people getting used to blood and death. And that's what Buhay Party List is totally against. We are promoting a culture of life. Magsaya tayo, magtulong-tulungan tayo sa pag-unlad ng bayan. At huwag natin isipin yung patayin ang sino man, kundi buhayin ang lahat, lalo na ang mga kabataang pero magandang hinaharap kung ginagawa ng gobyerno ngayon ang tama. Now, let's ask the question, is it the solution? Kasi sinisigaw nila, ito na lang ang paraan para mapigil na ang criminality, ang drug problem. No, it's not the solution. The problems of drug proliferation is in the hands of government. Kaya dumadami yan at nakakaraan sa customs eh. Billions and billions of pesos worth of shabu dumadaan sa kamay at mata ng gobyerno. At yung ba naman ang solusyon, nakita na natin sa nakaraan, nakikita natin sa ibang bansa, it has never solved the problem of drugs in any part of the world.
Let me ask si Attorney Capunan.
You know, I've been a practicing lawyer for the last 40 years. No? I guess that dates me, but when we're talking about the imposition of the death penalty is just one in the 5 pillars of the criminal justice system. Because when you're talking about the 5 pillars of criminal justice, first, there is the community. Then there is enforcement. Then there is prosecution. Then there's the courts. So death penalty only relates to the courts. And lastly, there is correction. So if you want really a genuine deterrent to crime, let's say plunder or the drug issue, then you have to reform the whole. For instance, in community, in the first pillar of community, there can be self-policing, or you can make the community a better place to live in. In terms of the second pillar, which is enforcement, I mean, we have seen so many corrupt police enforcers, no? In fact, extrajudicial killings has been the new normal. So you need to reform also the enforcement system. Prosecution, as a practicing lawyer, I hate to say this in pain of contempt of court, but you know that prosecutorial system here sometimes depends on not what you know, but who you know. And then there is the court system, which takes 10 million years. I mean, how can it be a deterrent when precisely justice delayed is justice denied? I mean, I go to court, I sit down here accused, and I ask them, what are you in here for? In Tagalog, of course, sabihin nila, nahuli po ako, nahulian po ako, humihitit lang ako. How long have you been here? Gaano katagal ka na dito? They're saying they've been there for 1 year. more than the penalty of 6 months. Because why? Because laging absent ang PAW, laging.
Nagdi-delay ang hearing.
And then lastly, of course, there is correction. As I agree with our beloved congressman here, for as long as there is life, there is hope. So your whole correction system where you can rehabilitate, because death is permanent. Death is permanent. You cannot undie a person, or you cannot, if there is a mistake, no?
Attorney, interesado lang ako dun sa isang column niya na nabasa ko. You said there na parang 2/3 of the sentences as for the Supreme Court were found to be erroneous.
Yes.
Tama po ba
I agree.
death sentences?
Yes, death sentences, they have been reversed by the Supreme Court. And there seems to be wisdom in the argument that it is anti-poor. Because you get a good lawyer, come on. Tell me a plunderer, a congressman, a senator, or cabinet official who has been convicted.
Sabi ni Napoles, 18 senators and 110 congressmen dealt with her. What have we done? So what I'm saying is,
Well, you elected them to the Senate.
No,
That's
they're
what
back.
you
People
did.
elected
back.
them to the
Yeah, they're
Senate.
back.
so the point is, the certainty of punishment and arrest, no, to me, is the best deterrent to crime. Pero kung alam nilang makakawala sila, lalo na nakukuha sa pera ang anumang kaso, sabi nga ni attorney, from arrest to prosecution to trial, pwedeng aregluhin ng pera. At makakawala yung kriminal. Asan yung takot sa punishment? Wala,
Of course,
dahil makakawala eh.
of course, we also want to present the other side. No, where we invited actually si VACC founder Dante Jimenez. I think he's on the line. Do we have Mr. Jimenez, sir?
Yeah, is this good?
Yes, sir. Sir, we invited you sana dito sa studio, but anyway, we're still waiting for you to join us. But just the same, kasi nagbigay na po ng side yung mga against the reimposition of the death penalty. Ano pong posisyon dito ng VACC as founding member?
Well, unang-una, the commission, being an anti-corruption commission, has seen how glaring ang corruption sa ating gobyerno, especially so that that is the advocacy of the president to fight corruption. Yan po ang role namin eh. Yeah, that's why the commission, which was created only 2017, has been advocating also the return of the death penalty for plunder. Because plunder is really stealing the people's money. And how could you stop this very glaring and callous practice of some officials if you will not really teach them the lesson of stopping really corruption? That's why, naalala ko tuloy, can I speak in Tagalog?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Naalala ko tuloy ng panahon na ko as founding chairman at presidente ng Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption. We filed a complaint against plunder, against a former president. Alam niyo naman kung sino yun. He was found guilty beyond reasonable doubt at affirmed by the Supreme Court. So, it just proves that ang plunder, you know, it's hanggang taas. The problem is, of course, he was pardoned.
Yes, sir. Sir, linawin lang natin, of course, you're talking about the issue as head of the Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission, di ba? But you were also,
Yeah.
yun na nga, founding president of VACC. How about for other crimes, sir? Tsaka yung sinasabi na it's a deterrent to crime?
Yeah, of course. Lalo na, you know, mga heinous crimes. That's too much. Grabe talaga. Pinatay mo na ang, nirape mo na yung bata, patayin mo pa, sunugin mo pa. So where's the evidence? Diyan nahihirapan minsan ang mga investigador, lalo na kung nobody, there will be case. So, paano kung meron ka namang body at nakita mo talaga ganyan ginawa? This is, instead of the parents taking the law in their hands, let the state perform its function to enforce the law and ensure that kaya marami pong heinous crimes eh. It's nakita mas creative ngayon ng mga tao. Okay? So that's why I believe, I really truly believe that if we will be able to impose it, mababawasan talaga. Yung talagang honest to goodness, walang halong politika.
Pero sir, sinasabi kasi nung iba, wala naman talagang proof that it's a deterrent to crime.
Well,
I mean, have there
meron
been...
naman.
Yeah,
Meron naman.
well, that's what the critics...
It is really a deterrent. Like for instance, yung panahon ni Lim Seng, di ba? Oh, na-execute na si Lim Seng, isang Chinese. Oh,
Heinous
and
one.
at Fort Bonifacio. After that,
That was martial law.
nabawasan baga ang drugs at that time. Oh,
Okay.
Tapos hindi na nasundan. Like for instance, si Leo Echegaray, ganun din. At iba pang mga ilan lang ata na ni former President Estrada, 7 lang ata yun, o 8. Kaso, siyempre, pumasok na yung mga influensya ng ibang sektor. So this is the problem. There is no consistency of implementing a law. Matter of implementing the law, that's it. I think it will improve further the peace and order.
Okay. Sir, we'll continue our discussion. We'll just take a short break. And this is On the Record. Keep it here on CNN Philippines.
Mas mabuti, unahin muna natin yung drugs. Pag nandyan na, existing na yung death penalty sa atin, activated na, and then saka natin isali yung pag-usapan ulit yung plunder. Hindi natin mo Romans 13:1-7, basahin din pa ulit-ulit. Malalaman natin na pinapayagan ang government na mag-impose ng death penalty, pero tayo wala tayong karapatan na magpumatay, kumitil ng buhay ng kapwa natin. Pero the government, which is established by God and instituted by God, pinapayagan.
Basta heinous, ang sabi ng Panginoon death penalty is being commanded. Pero hindi totoo, kasi biblical nga yan Pero, kailangan may protection ang mahihirap na akusado. Kasi tingnan mo mga kulungan ngayon Wala kang makitang mga milyonaryo, multimillionaire and billionaire, no? Kaya kailangan yung justice system natin ma-improve talaga
You're on the record on CNN Philippines. We're still talking about the revival of the death penalty for drug-related heinous crimes and plunder. Si Attorney Kapunan would like to address yung sinabi ni Mr. Jimenez.
I think what should be on the table really is the real issue. It's not whether you're for or against the death penalty. The real issue is, why are there heinous crimes? Why do people risk going to jail or being extrajudicially killed by going to the drug trafficking? Why do people steal? I mean, why is there greed in government? Why? To me, the basic issue here, and this is what government has not addressed, is really the poverty issue. It's the poverty issue. It's a poverty issue that drives us to a quick fix, where selling a stick of cigarette or peddling in marijuana or even just smoking it will bring you to another world where you can forget that your stomach is grumbling, that you have nothing, you cannot go to school because there's no money. And I guess that's what we should all focus on. If there is any priority agenda in the Senate and in the House, it should be the economic agenda, which we're not hearing enough about. How do we solve the problem of giving employment to our people to solve the poverty issue? How do we bring back the OFWs home when the when the family is broken because there is no mother? The mother is taking care of other people's children. So
Attorney, you were
that is
mentioning...
my take on heinous crimes. Go to the root. when because it has mushroomed, when there is now this forest of corruption, you don't chop off the trees. You dig deep into the roots. Otherwise, they will grow. They will grow again. And that's what I'm saying. Go to the root of the problem. And that's what our legislators should look at. And that's what the executive department should address.
Pero,
And we will all be united.
Yes.
If we address the real problem, palagi ko wala tayong debate.
Yeah.
Pero Congressman kasi, di ba, yung nakapasa na siya, di ba, March 2017 in the 16th Congress, tapos hindi pumasa sa Senate. Now, Senate President Tito Soto is saying it could possibly pass, baka may slim chance, and then it will be one of their priority bills.
As far as the lower house goes, hindi pa pasado yan. This is an entirely new
Yes, yeah.
measure.
Yeah.
Kailan mag-umpisa sa A yan. Pag hindi ka pumasal in 1 year, in one
May mga
Congress,
nag-refile na rin ng, ng
nag-uunahan sila.
bills,
Dahil
yes.
sinabi ni Presidente, priority ko. Kaya punong-puno ngayon yung window. Ang dami nag-propose ng batas. Ganun yan, ganyan sa Kongreso.
But what I'm saying, Congressman, is kung hindi nakapasa dati sa Senate, nasa House, ngayon, posible daw, sabi ni Tito Soto.
I am not concluding that, neither am I giving up. Maraming congressmen ngayon bago.
Yes, yeah. Sa
So,
18th Congress.
70 of them are first-timers, young. And they may have a totally different view.
But there's a super majority in the House.
Yeah, that's a reality. It's always a numbers game, Ruth. But I am not giving up and saying, pasado na sa House. Hindi pa nga nag-uumpisa. We will have the committee hearings. We will have public hearings. We will have deliberations. We will have debates and discussions. We will have more programs like this. And the more important thing is for the people to realize the details of what we're talking about. Yan ba talaga ang magbibigay ng solusyon? Attorney Kapunan and I agree. Hindi. It will only aggravate the problem because we are deviating from the real problems. And that's poverty, economic situation, joblessness, livelihood lacking among our people. Ang ginagawa ng mga tao. Sa gabi, wala na. Nasa labas na lang sila nakaupo dahil wala silang trabaho. So, yun ang ating pag-usapan. Rather than sabihin natin, ito ang panacea, itong solusyon, itong genuine solution. Hindi. At saka wala akong sa aking pagsasaliksik, wala akong nakitang bansa na nagtagumpay, na napigil ang droga, no matter what punishment the government is threatening the people with. Tuloy-tuloy ang problema dahil ang problema nga yung criminal justice system, yung malakas, yung mayaman, yung mahirap ang napaparusahan. Yun ang sitwasyon natin. That's where we are in right now.
Okay, we're gonna ask for the comment naman of Mr. Jimenez when we return. Keep it here on CNN Philippines.
Para sa lahat, wala naman tayong ninanakaw, wala namang magnanakaw. Walang mamamatay. So anong dapat nating ikatakot? Para sa akin na mas babaan pa po. Babaan.
From 52.
Maybe, tingnan natin, maybe 10? Basta para sa akin, pera ng gobyerno ito eh.
Maninindigan kami na hindi deterrent ang parusang kamatayan sa complex na problema ng krimen, no? Kahit sabihin pa nilang ito lang naman ay para sa plunder at saka doon sa droga, ano? Pag binuksan mo na yan, magsusunod-sunod na yan. Siguro in the coming days, no, ay mas malinaw yung matitest rin kung ang minority, no, ano yung mga issues na magkakasama kami at ano yung mga issues that we have to stand on our own, no?
You're watching On The Record on CNN Philippines. Tinitignan ko yung ating Facebook Live and medyo marami yung nagsasabi ng yes to death penalty. We have Mona Santiago, we have Heather Alsuki, si Seto Adorable, si Win Samson T. Tanungin natin ulit si Mr. Jimenez. Sir, ang sinasabi ng mga ni Attorney Kapunan and ni Congressman Atienza dito, just address daw reforms in the justice system and the root cause daw of why crimes are happening, yung poverty.
Yeah, alam mo, matagal na yan. Noon pa yan. When I was with VACC, sabi namin, we don't have any objection of improving the criminal justice system. My question to you guys, kayo mga nasa politika, what have you done to improve the criminal justice system? See? So, because what we have is I understand, are still weak and favors more the criminals rather than the victims. So, ito po dapat maayos as well. But you see, under these present circumstances, if we want to get rid of heinous crimes triggered because of illegal drugs, okay, and plunder, yung pagnanakaw ng pera ng bayan, really time to reimpose. Because our president is really determined to ensure that this death penalty will be in place instead of accusing the government of extrajudicial killing. Question is there really such an EJK? There is none. When you define the EJK, it is sanctioned by the government. Question, is the killing of these criminals sanctioned by the government? No. But the point here is, again, they blame it because of this policy of the president to ensure that you protect first yourselves before they kill you, addressing the police enforcers. So to me, that is one, improve the criminal justice system, yes.
So you're one with that, sir?
You can do that simultaneously. But until when? You return the death penalty?
Mr. Jimenez, for your, kasi we're on the last stretch, for your final words na lang, why death penalty? Our advocates here are saying pwede namang i-reform. Just address that, sir, for your final words, sir.
Well, to me, what is important here is the resoluteness of the guilt of the party, of the guilty party. Yun po importante yan, resoluteness. Sigurado, because these decisions naman are being reviewed by the Supreme Court. So, it is not really true that, of course, sinasabi na, this is anti-poor. Eh, ilan ba ang poor sa Pilipinas? Almost 70% ang poor. Oh, pero question, may mga ano pang mga mayayang, po na ngayon si Jaime Jose, yung kay Maggie de la Riga. Di ba? May mga kaya yon.
Okay. Thank you very much to Mr. Jimenez. We go back to our guests here. Final words, sir. Uusad ba ito sa Kongreso?
I would really insist, and I will never change my position, ang buhay ay pag-aari ng Panginoon. We should all celebrate life. Pag nagkakamali ang tao, parusahan, hulihin, arestuhin. Let me just ask a simple question. For the past 3 years, we are on a very violent anti-drug war. Meron ba tayong hinuli at talaga namang under prosecution na malaking drug lord? Wala. Kaya yun ang sinasabi namin eh. Ang napapatay gabi-gabi, ang nahuhuli, yung maliliit. Pero yung mga drug lords, wala tayong alam. May isa na nahuli. So even if you provide a death penalty, kung hindi talaga huhulihin yung drug lord, andyan pa rin ang problema.
Attorney Capun.
Let's value life.
Not only should we value life and the right to life, there is no such thing as there is heinous crime, but there are no heinous criminals. Okay, so you do not define a person as heinous unless there is the rule of law. That means the whole justice system operating. But as a last argument, let me say that all of this, regardless of with pro and con, the argument for the death penalty is unconstitutional for 3 reasons. Number 1, we have, the Philippine Constitution says life. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay. Number 2, we have treaty commitments. We signed the protocol on civil and political rights. You cannot unsign it.
Okay.
And therefore, the whole community is saying, you are a signatory, you cannot unsign that treaty. And lastly, I think we all share the frustration of the president. But there is no quick fix to this.
Okay. Thank you very much to our guests. And that's On the Record this week. Thank you for watching. I'm Ruth Cabal.
I respectfully request Congress to reinstate the death penalty for heinous crimes related to drugs as well as plunder.